Wherever you are in the world, welcome to day 4 of Bales and Buzzers. Welcome to the show. On today's show we're going to be talking with George Dockrell, who played a huge part in Ireland's win over the West Indies the other day. Before we talk to George, what do you think of the game last night, Bales?
Yeah, Scotland were a bit unlucky. They did well in the end. I think they were 12 for 4 against New Zealand, having been inserted to bat. So they got back to a bit of respectability, and there was definitely some encouraging signs for them for the tournament ahead.
Yeah, you think 12 for 4. And there was 3 first balls in those first 4 wickets.
Yeah.
I mean, you were saying, oh crikey, could this be the lowest score in World Cup history? But they did. I mean, Mackin and Merrington, they batted very well.
Yeah, you sort of feared for them at the top of your Trent Boult blew them away. He's a really good operator, left arm swing. He was swinging it sideways early on, so it was really tough for him. I think any top order would have struggled against his opening spell, so they were unlucky in that sense. But I think they recovered, as you said, quite well, and they put up a good. In the end, they put up a good show, and they gave New Zealand a bit of a run for their money, especially
they made New Zealand work for it. They really
exactly.
did. Yeah. And I mean, and I saw the Wardlow, was it the opening bowler for Scotland? He bowled very well as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he's sort of the type of bowler that Ireland are sort of missing. That sort of faster, taller, bit of bounce, something different about him. Yeah. And it showed his worth yesterday when he took 3 wickets. So I
think he's with Yorkshire, isn't he?
Yeah, they've got some good players, and as we know, they beat Ireland in the warm-up game, so they've got something about them, and I think you can't judge them on yesterday's result because New Zealand are sort of a class above everyone else. Themselves in Australia are sort of a class above everyone else at the moment. So look, Scotland will. I think we can expect big things of them from this tournament.
Well, it'll be great to see, and I mean, I think, and then New Zealand play then again on Friday or Thursday our time, so we'll be reviewing that. Up next, we've George Dockrell.
And Ireland produced a fantastic performance on Monday night to beat the West Indies, and while it was a collective performance, there were some individual stars that shone, including George Dockrell, who took 3 wickets for 50 runs in his 10 overs. And we're joined on the phone now live from Brisbane by George. George, thanks very much for joining us.
No worries, thanks for having me on.
Firstly, obviously it was a massive win. What was the atmosphere and mood in the dressing room like after the win?
Yeah, the guys were absolutely delighted. We were buzzing the whole night. And the guys were just elated. I think we'd built up so long, I think, to that first game into this World Cup. There's been so much preparation that's gone into it over the last number of years that we were just dying to get into it. And after that win, there was just a lot of emotions around.
Yeah, the spinners played a big part in it. Yourself, Andy McBride and Paul Sterling. Going into the match, was there a plan to utilise the spinners as much as they did, or was it just the way the West Indian top order played you?
I think it's definitely a strength of the team. If myself and Sarah having bowled in partnerships, the last 4 or 5 years, and obviously now that Andy's come in and done a brilliant job, he's added to that beautifully. I think the maturity he showed yesterday was fantastic. He didn't look like he was playing in his first World Cup game at all. So it was great that we had that kind of 3-way partnership that worked so well for us.
And George, because it was interesting, because there was a lot of talk here about Craig Young being left out for the game. And bringing in Andy McBride. Did you see something in the track beforehand, or what was the strategy there?
I think it was a fairly good pitch. Regardless, I think you look at how our guys batted, and most of our guys would have said it was a pretty good pitch to bat on. So I think it was going to be, similar for both bowlers. It was tough. I think the team selection, it'll be the hardest selection we've ever done at this World Cup. With guys missing out because the competition is so high for places. So it was always going to be tough who missed out that first game. But, credit to the guys who were selected, they did the job.
Yeah, and George, obviously you were there in Bangalore in 2011. In comparison to yesterday's result and the atmosphere and the crowd in Nelson, what was it like?
I think it was very different. I suppose, that game in Bangalore, we kind of came from behind, and it being in India with the crowd, it was very different. The feeling in Nelson yesterday was a little bit surreal. I think massive credit to the Irish support that were there, and even the locals got behind us. Hugely, felt like it was a game we were playing in Malahide. So it was a really nice atmosphere to play in front of, and the crowd were fantastic. And then I suppose the win wasn't as big a shock for us when it came, but still, delighted.
And now you've got 9 days or so before the next game against the UAE. You've flown to Brisbane. Do you think that big gap in between games will benefit the side, or is it a bit of a detraction given that the momentum is now all with the Irish side?
I think it will be a good thing. In my opinion, I think as I said, after having built up so much for that first game, I think maybe the lads will need a couple of days off just to relax, get away from it all. And then when we come back and meet again in Brisbane and come back to train again, preparing for that UAE game, will be a lot more focused. So I think it'll work out nicely for us.
Yeah, and George, we've just 2 questions. We believe just before you came on air that you were having your dinner. What was the meal this evening?
A few of us just ran down and grabbed a quick pizza, and a lovely little Italian across the road from us.
Right.
So it was a fairly quick one. We obviously just flown in from New Zealand, so it was a quick dinner. And
what's the plan? I mean, now that you have a couple of days rest, I mean, I know our viewers would love to know, what are you going to do with your downtime, some of the members on the team?
Personally, I'll just relax. Obviously, we're now on the Gold Coast, and I can look out on my balcony out on the beautiful beach there, so I think I'll be relaxing down there and just taking some time away, letting my body recover. And I think you probably saw in the game there was a lot of cramp going on with the guys, and I don't think that's totally the heat or the physical. I think a lot of it was just emotional energy the lads spent, so it'll be nice just, I think, relaxing for a bit and getting away from it all, and then being ready to come back in for that UAE game. Yeah, because George, we've been sort of obviously following your career quite a lot, and tell us through. I mean, I know originally you were a seamer, and Brian O'Rourke found your great talent that you have. Tell us about that time when he found you out to be a world-class slow orthodox. Yeah, it was on a trip, Leinster under-13 trip away in Wales, when Brian O'Rourke came up to me, and I think I was playing some tennis ball cricket in the car park with the lads and bone spin just for a bit of fun, and he said to me, that we don't have a second spinner on the team, I think this week, do you fancy giving it a go? And I thought, sure, why not? It's probably his nice way of saying that my left arm seam wasn't very good, but it was obviously a great move from him, and I've never looked back since. Yeah, and just looking back, George, you made your Irish debut at 17. What was that like to make your international debut when you were so young? Yeah, it all happened very fast. Even carrying on from that, ball left arm spin at 13. I didn't make the Irish team then at the under 15s level, but 2 years later, at the 17s, I made the A team and the full team. So it was pretty quick the way I came in. I was quite lucky with injuries and retirement and things like that, the way I got my chance. So I was a little bit kind of starstruck when I was thrown into it initially, but obviously 5 years now I've been playing and loved every minute of it. Yeah, and just looking back on yesterday's game, you took the crucial wicket of Chris Gale. You're sort of getting a bit of habit of taking the big scalps. You had Sachin Tendulkar in 2011 as well. Do you sort of relish bowling to those esteemed batsmen? Yeah, I think you've got to enjoy it and enjoy that challenge. You come up against those guys, and if you stray at all, they punish you pretty badly. So I had bowled to Gale before, and he'd hit me for a few sixes in the Champions League, and I think that was in 2011. So it was nice to get one back on him and get him out. We're also very interested, within every team, as you know, and there's a few characters. Who will be the characters before in the games before coming up next week and the week after? Who are the characters in the team? I think we've got quite a nice squad, to be honest, of lads. I think a couple of young guys coming through now. Andy Balbirnie's one, I think, to watch out, not only his cricket, but he's a great lad. He's come in, and obviously all the boys are really behind him, so I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes the rest of the tournament. And he's good value as well off the pitch. George, it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you today, and the best of luck for the rest of the tournament, and everybody here in Ireland's right behind the team. Thanks very much for your time, George. Thanks, George. Cheers. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so the Irish squad landed in Brisbane, as we heard from George earlier on the show. on a couple of interesting tweets, most notably from Ed Joyce. He was tweeted by Stuart Broad, the English fast bowler, to say, "Also knock yesterday, Joycey. Fair to say you looked in a bit of form. Congrats on the win. Catch up soon." And Ed Joyce replied to him, "Thanks, mate. Hopefully see you in the quarter-finals where England, of course, could play Ireland." Yes. So let's hope for that anyway. As always, we love to hear from you, so you can get in touch, hashtag Bales and Buzzers, or at The Slog Sweep, or facebook.com/The Slog Sweep. Alternatively, you can go to our website, theslogsweep.com, and you can get in touch via that.
Just before we go, Bales, tonight's game, Bangladesh and Afghanistan?
Yeah, I suppose from an Irish perspective, it would be interesting to see how Afghanistan fare. They've sort of been at our tails for a few years now in the associate ranks and all formats. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they go. Conditions won't exactly be in their favour. I suppose neither that won't suit Bangladesh either. So it should be a competitive game, and we haven't really seen too many of those in the tournament so far. So
yeah, great. Well, we'll have a quick talk about that tomorrow morning. That's it for today's show. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks again to George Dockrell for talking with us this morning. Look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.